Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, we're going to be looking ahead to the FIFA Club World Cup coming up in the summer, just a few weeks out, in fact. Now, joining me this evening to preview the Club World Cup, we have returned to the podcast, Christoph.
Good to be back, viewers.
Yes, indeed, Christoph. EPL football, club football is on a break, but we still have a bit of competition taking place. The newly revamped FIFA Club World Cup, which is proposed to take place every 4 years. Quite similar to the World Cup involving international teams, Christoph. This is the club version. And to be honest, I'm getting real excited about this one. I definitely see the potential of this competition, which involve teams all across the world. 32 teams, in fact, broken up into groups following a similar pattern as it relates to World Cup competition. Uh, Two teams advance to the knockout stages, and these teams have to first navigate the group stage, which is what we'll be looking at this evening. But what's your impression of this competition, Christoph? Is it worth the watch for the fans? What's your take on the newly revised competition?
I think it's good, but also there is a lot of football being played and potentially players getting burned out because the Club World Cup is in a week or so.
Right?
But the Nations League is going on right now currently. So some of those players currently playing in the Nations League will be playing in the Club World Cup. So I think it's too much
Well,
football, too much
no,
overlapping going on,
I
too much
think
football.
managers have to, the managers have a whole squad to choose from. So it's a case of navigating these games with
No,
your full
no, no,
squad.
no, 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 no. It's not the same. Not the same.
Well,
Nations League is international. So the international coaches are not the club coaches. The international coaches are going to use the best players available to them. So it's not the
no,
same.
no, 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 no. I'm
This should not be
saying
happening. You're going to have the Club World Cup. The Nations League should not be playing right now then.
I don't see, I don't think, I don't have any issues with the football being played, in all honesty.
Uh,
I think these players are played enough. Football, yes, but you have a squad of 22, 24. Plus, FIFA has also opened up a special transfer window, especially for this Club World Cup as well. So that's something which obviously they've taken into account in terms of players burning out. But for me, I have no issue. The more football, the merrier for me. And with teams having 5 subs and a full squad of 24 to choose from, once managers utilize the full depth of their squad, then I see no issues. And of course, not all players are involved in Nations League as well. We must emphasize that it's not a case where every player is playing Nations League. It's just a select few players from teams, so to speak. So when you look at a team of 24, maybe 5 players, Christopher, are involved in Nations League football currently. When you look at a squad of 24, you take Real Madrid, for example, which is one of the more known squads. I mean, football is being played, yes, Nations League, World Cup qualifiers, etc. But a lot of those players are not really actively involved and are getting ready for this Club World Cup, which has a big prize money as well. That is something I must emphasize, that the prize money for winning the Club World Cup is just as much, if not slightly more, than if you were to win the Champions League. So you're talking about big money, the winner getting in excess of £100 million. And then, of course, the rest of the money trickles down to all 32 teams involved in the competition. But let's dive in, Christoph. Let's dive into the group stages, are the groups involved in this Club World Cup. And of course, we're going to make our selection as to the 2 teams we think will progress to the knockout stages. So it's Group A to H. So pretty much we have 8 groups of 4, and 2 teams from each group will advance to the round of 16, where it becomes a knockout type situation, where the winner of Group A will play the runner-up of Group B, and the winner of Group B will play the runner-up of A, and so on and so forth. But let's first take a look at Group A, Christoph. Group A, we have Palmeiras, FC Porto, Al Ali, and Inter Miami. What says you? Who are the two teams to progress from this group?
Well, certainly, Porto will be top in the group, in my opinion. And then I feel like the second spot is pretty much up for grabs for the rest of the teams there. I
I
think,
think the Brazilian team, Palmeiras.
yeah, I was going to go with Palmeiras. I think will probably take that second spot. So I think Porto and Palmeiras will move on to the next
Yeah,
round.
usually with the old format of the Club World Cup, most times the European team would pretty much play two matches and they're lifting a trophy at the end of the day. They tend to come into this competition at the semi-final round where pretty much it's two match and you're hoisting a trophy, being the winners of the Club World Cup, and you're adding it to your CV. This case, it takes a proper World Cup format where you have to play 7 matches to lift that title if you were to make it all the way to the finals. So Palmeiras, Brazilian team, Porto, obviously from Portugal in the Portuguese league. Al Ali, not so renowned, but they are a team, a top team out of Egypt. Christoph, they play their club football in Egypt, and then you have Inter Miami, one of the representative of the MLS, of course. That is where the maestro, the man, the myth, the legend, the goat, Christoph. That's where Messi plays. Are you saying Messi doesn't have the pulling power to haul this Inter Miami team into the second round?
Um, I I think people potentially overestimate um the MLS. It's not a very good league, right? The
Mm.
qual
Are you saying the Brazilian league is better than the
uh,
MLS?
by far, by
Wow,
by leaps and
wow,
bounds.
wow.
You have to remember that Brazil is a footballing nation. America is not, right?
That is true.
Um, in Brazil, you get in Brazil and in other footballing nations, people you get paid to come and play football, learn football, youth academy, whatever. In America, you have to pay to go and play. So it's not the
It's the
same.
total opposite.
It's a very different
It's the
approach for
total
football.
opposite where in the US you have to pay to play. In
Right.
Brazil, they pay you to play.
Right. So it's not the same. So
Yeah,
there's a lot
definitely.
more football in pedigree coming out of Brazil. Yeah, Inter Miami have Suarez, Busquets, Messi, and Alba, but major in my opinion, the best player on Inter Miami is probably Busquets. All
Not
right, you
Messi.
not Messi, not
Wow,
Messi.
wow, that is
Uh,
a bold statement right
but
there, Christopher. I
I
beg to
think
differ. I
no,
highly beg to differ.
no,
I think
no.
there's a lot still left in Messi. He should be able
No,
to
no, no, no.
go
I'm
to
not.
another World Cup,
I am
while
not saying
Busquets
Messi is
can't really
done.
make that Spanish team currently.
But here's the thing.
Mm.
As long as Messi wants to play, Messi will make that Argentinian team. That is the
So you're
difference.
saying he's not being picked on merit then?
No, not just that merit. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo.
Right?
Cristiano Ronaldo, as long as he wants to play, he is going to get picked for that team.
But is he being picked on merit? Is the question,
I think there are other players that would probably. I want to see Ronaldo play, right? Not a
right?
problem, but I think there are other players that would complement the team better than a Ronaldo.
So you're saying he's not being picked on merit,
No. I think he's being picked because he's the captain, Portuguese legend, and he does
Mm.
not want to
And you're
retire.
saying a
That's fine.
similar sentiment would extend to Messi also
Um,
then,
yeah, I think that is the case. Not Messi has both Messi and Ronaldo still have a lot of brilliance in them, moments of brilliance, but they are not game dominating presences like they once were.
yeah,
I'm
for
saying
sure. Yeah, obviously with age it comes a drop off slightly in performance. I
right,
can
but I'm
accept that.
saying both
But
both
I still think both players are operating at a level where they deserve to be in their national squads, in
I'm
my
not no,
opinion.
I'm not saying they don't deserve to be in the national squad now. I'm saying potentially they could do better. Both national teams could do better if they rebuild their
Uh,
squads around some new
no,
players,
I
and
don't
then you
think so
have
at all.
Messi and Ronaldo.
Not yet, not yet. Maybe
Not
after the
yet.
next World Cup.
I
I think
mean,
they still have
it's
a
it's
couple
the
years
la
left in the legs. Plus,
it's
of course,
potent
Messi is a few years younger than Ronaldo as well.
it's
Factor that in.
potentially the last World Cup for both. So.
Well, definitely it would be the last World Cup for both, but I still think they have enough to make those teams based off merit, and this is another opportunity for us as fans to see Messi playing football at the highest level. And I'm also hearing that Cristiano may be a target for one of these clubs during this special transfer window as well, Christoph. So we may yet see Ronaldo playing in this Club World Cup, not only Messi. It would be interesting to see if both teams would go head to head, if in fact Ronaldo does get a transfer to one of these participating clubs, but that's yet to be seen. But your picks for this group, you're
I
saying,
I
Christoph,
I don't know about them going head to head. So for them to go head to head, in my opinion, somebody in Group A, probably Porto, would probably have to sign Ronaldo because I don't think Inter Miami is going to make it out of the group.
right? Right.
But who
Well,
knows?
who knows? Who knows?
they might get three penalties in the group stage.
Well, possibly. And as I said, who to tell which team Ronaldo may sign for as well. And that may provide even greater motivation or incentive for possibly Inter Miami to make it out of the zone. So your pick for Group A, just for clarity, Christoph, your pick would be Palmeiras and FC Porto.
Porto to top the group, Palmeiras to come second, I think.
All right. I'm gonna go slightly different from you. I'm gonna go Porto and Inter Miami, Christoph. This game or this Club World Cup is being hosted in America. And in fact, Group A is being hosted the Miami Stadium, pretty much the home base of Lionel Messi. So to me, that home fan base should be enough to push this Inter Miami team to the next level. So I'm gonna go with Messi and Inter Miami to progress from this group along with uh, FC Porto. Group B comprised of PSG, Atletico Madrid, Botafogo, and the Seattle Sounders. That's the composition of Group B. For me in this one, I'm gonna take the lead in this one. For me, I would have to go PSG for sure and Atletico Madrid come in
Mhm.
second in that group. So PSG and Atletico Madrid, the two European clubs to progress to the next round. I don't think the Brazilian club, Botafogo nor the Seattle Sounders will make it out of this group. What says you?
Um, Definitely PSG and Atletico Madrid, I think, should be moving to the next round.
Definitely. I mean, PSG is Champions League winners, and Atletico Madrid finished third in La Liga behind Barcelona and Real Madrid, and they have some top players at their disposal as well. That team being led by Simeone, the you could say an Argentinian legend at this point in time, a real legend at Atletico Madrid. And yeah, these are the two top teams in the zone. These are the two pedigree teams. These are the two teams with some of the highest budget in terms of the price of these club, Christoph, the actual player value of these clubs. They are way above the others in this zone. So this should be an easy walkthrough for a team such as PSG as well as Atletico Madrid. And in fact, I think these teams will be highly motivated, Christoph. PSG may be chasing history if they were also to lift the title in this new format of this Club World Cup. So to me, PSG should be highly motivated and going all out to, in fact, win this tournament. In fact, Christoph, I will go so far right now and call PSG to win this World Cup. So my pick, I'm gonna back PSG all the way to the final and to actually win this World Cup. But that's just my call. Group C, Bayern Munich, Auckland City, Boca Juniors, and Benfica. What says you?
Well, it would have to be Bayern Munich and Benfica. I, Auckland FC
Yeah, Auckland City out of New Zealand. They should
out of
be
New
the
Zealand,
whipping
they don't.
boys in this group, in fact.
Boca Juniors, while is a relatively big club. I mean, especially
Yeah, a
come
big Argentinian club, to be
right.
honest with you.
But
They are one of the top teams in Argentina
I don't think they have
with a
the
rich
quality,
history as well.
rich history. Or Diego Maradona used to play there. I believe Messi said he would like to play there before his career ends, but we'll
Hmm,
see.
not sure, not sure. Who to tell? That's a possibility. Might give them a year or two.
Maybe, but definitely Benfica and Bayern to top that group.
Benfica and Bayern. Yeah, again, the two European giants, to be honest, the two European giants are Auckland. Yeah, they will be the beaten sticks in this group, in all honesty. I think this competition is way above their pay grade, and they should be the whipping boys. It would be surprise me if they even get on the score sheet in any of these games. So yeah, I think this one should be a fairly straightforward call. Bayern Munich along with Benfica. The Boca Juniors Benfica game may be interesting because if Boca was to get any sort of points or even progress to the next round, that game would be the pivotal game that they would need a result to move on. So the head-to-head between Benfica and Boca Juniors may prove the pivotal game, but I do believe Benfica should have enough firepower to progress to the next round. Then we move on to Group D. Group D, Flamingo, Tunis. Of Tunisia is a club over there in Tunisia, North African country. Chelsea and LAFC. So another MLS team right there in Group D. What says you in relation to this group?
Well, definitely Chelsea should be topping this group easily. Yeah, might see them putting out their C team to be honest. Um,
Well, again, money is on the line, and Chelsea is one of those teams which always chase the dollars, Christoph. So
so
I think they are
Chelsea
going full strength.
definitely to top the group. I feel like the second spot is up for grabs, but I would go with Flamingo over LAFC. I mean LAFC has Olivier Giroud, but he has not looked quite himself in LA. I think he's only
Definitely
had
not.
like 2 goals in 19 appearances. So
Mm,
yeah,
very
I think
underwhelming performance.
right. So I think it will be Chelsea and Flamingo.
Chelsea and Flamengo, I share similar sentiments, Christoph. The Brazilian teams, as I said, in the old format, these are the teams which usually give the European teams a run for their money. So for sure, in this one, Flamengo should get the better of LA, but definitely Chelsea is the pedigree team in that zone. So Chelsea top the group, Flamengo finishing second. Then we move on to Group E, River Plate, Red Diamonds, Monterrey, and Inter. So this is a very fascinating group. Teams being drawn from all over the world. River Plate down there in Argentina. Red Diamonds, I believe. Red Diamonds, Christoph, is a team out of Japan. That's a team out of the Asian Confed. Japan is where Red Diamonds play their club football. Monterrey, Mexican League. And we also have Inter, beaten finalists in the Champions League. Under new management as well, Christoph. Their coach have been relieved of his duty. Enzagi, he is now the coach over there at Al Hilal, which is also a team, ironically, in this Club World Cup as well. We'll be taking a closer look at them a little later. But Inzaghi is now over there at Al Ahly, the Saudi Pro League team, and Inter. I'm not sure who the manager of Inter will be for these competitions. So, what says you? Does that factor into your consideration as you pick the teams for this zone who will progress?
Um, I think despite not having a manager moving to potentially a new manager or interim manager, I think Inter still have the quality to top this group, and then second place is up for grabs, but I would go with potentially River Plate or Red Diamonds.
Red Diamonds. So you're counting Monterrey out of Mexico completely out of the equation?
Uh, uh, yeah, I think River Plate um will come second. I want second place is up for grabs. Inter, under no circumstance, manager or no, should not tap this group. 'Cause regardless of if you have a manager, they must know how to play football. And
Right, right,
you
right.
are one of the top teams in the world and in Europe. Yeah, just come from the Champions League final. I don't know how that will weigh on the players, to be honest.
Maybe
But
that was just a one-off performance. It should be back to business come Club World Cup, to be honest. But
right,
again, new manager, we don't know. Our interim manager, we really don't know what sort of Inter you might see. But as you said, these are professional footballs who play at the highest level. So regardless of who is leading at the helm, then you would expect them to at least progress from the group stages. So
right.
I support that sentiment. I too believe it will be Inter and Flamingo that progress to the next round.
Flamingo. You
However,
mean River
sorry,
Plate?
you're right, River Plate, sorry. But I wouldn't necessarily count Monterrey completely out of the equation. It may come down to that game between River Plate and Monterrey, who will determine the second place team that progress with Inter. So that should be a very interesting game, I would say. I don't know much about Red Diamonds, Christoph. They play, as I mentioned, over there in Japan. These Japanese teams normally have a rich fighting spirit. So again, as you say, second place should be interesting. This may be one of the closer groups that we see in the competition, in terms of those other three teams battling now to see who will finish second. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this group. But my official pick would be Inter to finish first and River Plate. So those are the two teams I think will progress to the knockout stages. Then we move on to Group F. Fluminense, Dortmund, Ulsan, and Sundowns FC. Sundowns FC out of South Africa, and we also have Ulsan. They are a team out of South Korea. So they again representing the Asian Confed. And then, of course, we have Dortmund, which is a German team, European representative, and Fluminense. We go back into South America, one of the top Brazilian teams as well. I believe this is where Thiago Silva Christoph now plays his football. So one of the more familiar names we would know is Thiago Silva, former Chelsea centre back. Formerly, before Chelsea, he was playing his football over there at PSG. Brazilian stalwart. He is now playing his football in Fluminense. That this is his last hurrah before he potentially hangs up his football boots. But interesting group again. What says you as it relates to who progressed to the next round?
I will go with Borussia Dortmund and Fluminense on this
Dortmund
one.
and Fluminense. Again, though, to me, this is an easy call for this group again. Sundowns, not much from them. South African club. They do have a rich history, a number of South African championships under their belt, but I just think this competition is a level above where they currently play their football. Similarly to Ulsan, South Korean team. Uh, Again, these Asian teams usually have a very good fighting spirit, but quality is where the football lies. And I think Dartman, as you mentioned, has the quality. Fluminense also has the quality. So again, similar to you, those are my two picks to progress to the next round as well. Then we go to G. Group G, Man City, Wydad, Al Ain, and Juventus. Again, another interesting group. The two standouts, obviously, Christoph, are the two caliber teams which we follow week in, week out. Obviously, Man City, Juventus. It will be interesting to see which one of those teams finish in first. But those should be the two teams going forward. Al Ain is out of the UAE. They play their football over there in the desert, you could say, which they play in a different league, not to be mixed up with the Saudi Pro League, Christoph. The Saudi Pro League is in Saudi Arabia, where the big money is being spent, but Al Ain is over there in the United Arab Emirates, and that's where that team's come from. Wydad is a Moroccan team. They are one of the top teams in Morocco. So another North African team represented at the Club World Cup. What says you as it relates to this group?
Well, it should be Manchester City and Juventus. Um, I don't know. I don't quite recall if Manchester City has made any signings as yet.
Oh, yes, yes, of course.
Yeah.
I just heard they signed a Nori, former player of Wolves, left back, that attacking left back from Wolves.
Okay.
Sorry, not Wolves. Yeah, Wolves. Yeah, Nori, former left back, attacking left back. from Wolves. That signature is locked up. And of course, remember, Man City had made some signings in January as well, and they're being closely linked with a number of other players. And I also heard that they also signed a attacking midfield, Christoph. That one player who once played for AC Milan, I believe. The name Dutch international Reiners, his signature have been locked up as well.
So
And they seem to
nice.
be adding to the quality in that team. So they should be available for this Club World Cup under Pep. So yeah, this is possibly a first opportunity to get a glimpse of these new signings. And then the final group, Christoph, Group H, Real Madrid, Al Hilal, Pachuca, and FC Salzburg. So FC Salzburg, club team out of Austria. Pachuca, club out of Mexico. Al Hilal, that's the big money spenders out of Saudi Arabia and Pro League. That's the home of Mitrovic, Christoph. That's where Mitrovic plays his football. This is the same club which Cancelo, the former attacking defender from Man City, that's where he also plays his football now as well. So Al Hilal has a few quality players, a few quality names which we are somewhat familiar with. So for me, this should be a very interesting group, though, Christoph. Real Madrid should progress, but who will finish second is the question. What says you?
I feel like it's probably down to Salzburg and Al Hilal. Salzburg has appeared in the Champions League, a number of times over the years, and they're a relatively decent team, but uh, they're not necessarily the quality. I'm wondering if the star names that Al Hilal has purchased will be able to overcome them.
Right, right.
Is the quality in Al Hilal greater than the quality at Salzburg?
As
I
well
think,
as, remember, as
as well
I
as new
mentioned,
coach
new
Simeone.
coach,
I
new
mean
coach as well.
Inzaghi.
That's right.
So
That's right. So I'm sure Al Hilal took that into consideration that this competition is coming up quick and fast. So I'm sure Inzaghi would have hit the ground running, possibly implementing a new system as well. Uh, so it will be interesting because a number of Italian have made the transition over there into the Saudi Pro League as well. And as you mentioned, Al Hilal has made some big investment in some top-notch players. As I mentioned, the likes of Mitrovic, Cancelo, uh, Milinkovic, Savic as well.
big baller.
So a couple other big names. Their names are eluding me right now, though, Christoph, but a couple other big names are playing for this Al Hilal team. So it would not surprise me if they were the team to go through with Real Madrid. That should be a showdown matchup. Al Hilal versus Real Madrid. That should be one of the matches of this group or even of this competition. So to me, those are my two picks to progress as well. I just think the star power mixed with maybe some local indigenous players who play for Al Hilal will be too much for Pachuca out of Mexico and FC Salzburg to overcome. But if there was to be an upset, I would say Salzburg may be the team that surprise and also make it out of this group. But Al Hilal is my official pick. Al
Yeah,
Hilal and Real Madrid.
there are quite a number of big names over there in Al Hilal. Ruben Neves, like I
Ruben
said,
Neves, formerly of Wolves,
of Wolves,
Portuguese international.
like I said, João Cancelo.
João
Mitrovic is
Cancelo,
a striker who I
Mitrovic.
have always admired. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Um,
still banging in the goals.
Malcolm,
Malcolm, a
Koulibaly,
Brazilian, Koulibaly, right? Top defender there, formerly of Chelsea.
and
So
like
they
I said,
do have some
Milinkovic
star power.
Savic.
Milinkovic Savic, he is one of the linchpin in that midfield as well. So they do have a few star players, Christoph, who, if fit, should be able to make some noise in this competition, in all honesty. So I pick them to progress to the next round with Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think Al Hilal should go through. But that second spot, could still be up for grabs because, RB Salzburg could come good. So I go with Al Hilal Madrid, but Salzburg is there close, I think.
Yeah. As I said, if there was to be an upset, I feel the upset would come from Salzburg as well. They're a top Austrian team. As you said, perennial participants in the Champions League as well. So they do have some top players. None come to mind currently, but playing in the European leagues,
I
it
mean, that's
means
where
you
people
are of
like
some
Benjamin
quality.
Sesko is from, so originally. But
Right, right,
I guess you
right.
could say it's a bit of a feeder club
Feeder club, that's right.
for
That's
Leipzig.
right. Yep. But in terms of your pick, Christoph, are you seeing a team who you think will win this competition? My pick, as mentioned earlier, is definitely PSG. I'm jumping on that bandwagon from early. But
I don't have a
if you
pick,
were to
to
make
be
a pick of
honest.
a winner at this point, who would be your pick to take it all the way?
Um, it I don't really have a pick. A lot of teams are probably in with a shout. Bayern Munich potentially. PSG, like I said. Uh, Inter maybe, and then maybe Man City, Juventus, and then probably Madrid. I think it's one of the European teams, definitely. But like you said, you think PSG are favorites. Potentially. Um, you know, Inter could come good in this tournament. They played excellently throughout all of the Champions League except for that final.
And they
They
are
could
yet to
be
win a trophy as well. They've played so well, but yet to have any silverware to really show for all that good play. So this could be a
this
final,
could be
final opportunity if the players remain motivated.
right,
That
right. So
has
it
to
could
be the
be
key thing. The players
right.
have to be motivated and
Uh,
possibly hearing a new manager's voice may do the trick. Maybe it's a new manager bounce, Christoph, which we
yeah, but
often speak about.
you could say the same for Madrid.
True. That new coach Xabi Alonso as well. That is true. Plus, uh they did pay over that 10 million pound as well to Liverpool to have Trent Arnold-Alexander being made available early to participate in this very said competition. So
I
Real
mean,
Madrid, we
I
can tell, is definitely
I
motivated.
I don't see the point of that, to be honest,
But I'm
because
telling you, it is big money, Christoph. If you
no, no,
win,
no,
that
no, no, no. I
investment will
mean,
be manifested tenfold.
yeah, but it's a special transfer situation where he could have come over for free anyway. So
I'm
he
not
could have
sure
come
about
over
that. I
early.
don't think the release would have been in time for this competition. So they were willing and have shelled out the
Oh,
10
no, no.
million
I'm
with the
saying
potential of making that back tenfold.
it's a special transfer. So he could have come over. He could have gotten permission to come over for free.
No,
There was
but
no
again, it's
necessarily.
transfer. It's the transfer. Remember, you would still have to pay that transfer fee. So might as well just pay the money to release early and you end business with Liverpool. So he's fully your player, able to participate. So the fact that Real Madrid was willing to pay over up to 10 million pounds to Liverpool for the Trent Arnold-Alexander to feature for them in this competition, it simply means they mean business, Christoph. And as I said, this is big money. You're getting more than what you would get in the Champions League if you were to lift this title. So the big team players, they are all motivated for this cash money and as well as to lift that trophy come the end of this competition. So I have no doubt that the big teams are fully motivated and you will see full strength squads being rolled out for these matches, especially as you progress into the knockout stages, in all honesty. The fringe players may get a run out in the group stages because you have 3 games to play with, so to speak. Usually, if you win 2 games in the group stages, you're good to go. So all teams have to do is to win 2 games, 2 out of the 3 games in the group stages, and your spot is almost virtually secured. But once it comes to knockout, then if games are tied, it's extra time, then penalties. So you're not going to take much of a risk in the knockout games going forward. But I think teams are coming full force, full power, and it's gonna be interesting to see who makes it to the knockout. It may very well be a all European knockout stage, Christoph. It may very well be, but I feel a couple of the Brazilian teams may make it into the knockout stages as well. You may see a few surprises here or there. So, interesting times ahead. I think as this competition rolls around, I am getting even more excited to take in this Club World Cup. It's definitely going to be a festival of football in the summer, something we're not necessarily used to. Club World Cup plus Gold Cup action coming up as well. And then you factor in World Cup qualifying and some Nations League football. Then it's a festival of football all around, both at the club level and also at the international level. So we are fully engulfed in football for this summer. And also, the World Cup will be next summer, Christoph. So that is something to also look forward to. So back-to-back summers of quality football will be played after the club seasons have ended.
I mean, tournament could flop, World Cup could flop.
Ah,
And
well, well,
I
let's
mean,
not, let's hope not,
I have yet to see a boring World Cup, to be honest. But
right?
so we'll see.
Well, this is a newly revamped club competition. So if one was to flop, it would definitely be this one. But I don't think so. The
I
sort
don't
of
think so.
money,
It's using the a format that people are familiar with
that's right.
and like. So I think,
Exactly. And you're pulling now from
and
different
you
regions of the world as well. Brazil, for example, has a huge following, Christoph, when it comes down to football. And also over there in Asia, Asia probably have the world's largest population. So you're pretty much tapping into those demographic, which has a huge following when it comes to football. And it's taking on a more regional feel now. So if you're over there in Asian Confed, you're going to support the Japanese team, you're going to support the South Korean team. If you're down there in South America, you will be rallying for your South American representatives, whether you're in Brazil or Argentina. And
I don't
those,
know if that will be the case, to be honest.
well, I
I
just
think a
feel
lot
so.
of
I think
people
it will
will
boil down to
still
that.
rally for their favorite teams. You know, your South American, your favorite team is PSG. I think that is what is going to happen.
Ah, interesting time. We'll definitely have to watch and see. But that's all the time we have, Christoph. Thanks again for coming on board and really sharing your thoughts and your opinions. I'm definitely looking forward to this Club World Cup. Viewers and subscribers, thank you again for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Please continue to share, like, and subscribe if you haven't done so as yet. And of course, hit your notification bell so you get the latest video uploads. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.